We wanted to get together to talk business.
Hello and welcome to Sponsor Spotlight with Superstars Writing Seminars. I'm Mark Leslie Lefebvre. I'm going to be the host for today's program. And in the virtual Superstar studio, I have with me Randall Wood. Randall, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, Randall, for sponsoring Superstars Writing Seminars 2024. And we're going to be talking today about ScribeCount. So any questions that you guys have while you're watching live, go ahead and ask them. We can pop them up in the comments. Leave that little reminder on the screen for you. But just at the beginning, so ScribeCount was at Superstars, not really at Superstars 2024. ScribeCount was a sponsor for the conference, but you were unable to actually make it there in person, correct?
Yeah, I had a prior engagement and I couldn't just not get away. So reached out to my network, and Mr. Mark here stepped up for me and did a nice presentation. So I can't thank him enough for that.
As an author who uses ScribeCount, but let's go back to the beginning before we get into ScribeCount. Randall, your background is actually as a writer as well, right?
Yes. I've been writing since, I guess I could say high school, but I didn't really try to publish anything till probably around, had to be like 2008, 2009.
Okay.
And of course, this was right when the Kindle came out and Kindle Direct Publishing. And I had some interest from a New York publisher. And in the end, I decided to follow Joan Conrath and down this rabbit hole and try self-publishing. And it's worked out great. I've been doing nothing but that ever since. So I'm a 14-year veteran now, 15 year now.
So wait a second. You had sent your manuscript out and you had actually gotten to a point where agent or an editor was interested?
Yes. I actually had interest from the VP of, I want to say it starts with a T.
Okay.
And we batted back and forth about some plot changes they wanted to see and that. And at the same time, I'm printing off Joe's blog and reading it page after page. And I think I had it as a doorstop at one point. It was like 10 inches tall.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of doing things myself. Right. And I just it appealed to me. And actually, I talked to Barry Eisler as well.
Yeah.
And I decided to just let's see where this goes.
Wow.
So I did it. I submitted a book that I'd been told to submit, and I wrote a couple sequels to it, and things worked out. Got a book bump, of course, and that changed everything. So
wow, yeah, that really can change everything. So you're an independent author. You've chosen the independent path. You've done really well. You're having a good time. I suspect that ScribeCount was born out of maybe a frustration that you had out of not being able to see all of your sales data in one place.
It was. I tend to be a detail guy. I always want to see what's going on with my numbers. And when we started going wide, there's all these platforms and all these spreadsheets and all these reports to constantly monitor. Then you've got to check your ads. And there were a few outfits out there, Book Report being the main one that was doing a pretty good job, but they only did Amazon. And I kept waiting for these other platforms to address the wide platforms, and it just never happened. So I got tired of waiting, and I reached out in my network again, and I found a software guy who would like the idea. So him and I teamed up, and ScribeCount was born. And I think we launched January of 21. So it's been, a few years now.
January 2021. So you launched ScribeCount. So how does this work? So we talked about, okay, you're pulling in data from more than just Amazon. You're pulling data in. Can you just kind of maybe list some of the retail platforms that people are pulling
sure.
their data?
Well, we launched with the 7 main ones: your Amazon, your Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Drafted Digital. We added shortly after, Smashwords to follow, and then of course Ingram Spark we have now, and she's Google, all the major players. We started out with those, and then we've been slowly adding more as the years go by. So that's worked out great. We just keep adding and adding as we can. And we branched off into other areas. We now have ad tracking, so you can compare your ads to your sales, and email. We were adding email platforms. We just added MailerLite this week, and now you can see your email marketing, how it affects your sales, and
Right.
see all that data side by side. And it just keeps growing and growing. We've got streaming services planned. We've got direct sales through Shopify and WooCommerce.
Wow.
So it just keeps growing and growing, and no end in sight really right now. I'll sleep in a few years maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So how does this work? Does that mean that if I sign up for a ScribeCount account, I have to give you all my logins to all my platforms, right?
No, that was a major sticking point with me when we were discussing how we were going to build this thing. We don't use any passwords. We limited cookies for certain platforms require it.
Okay.
And we don't archive your data, and we don't keep giant databases. So everybody's data when you sign up is pigeonholed.
Oh, wow.
Your data is not mixed with anybody else's, and you have complete control of the interface at all times. So we operate through what's called a browser extension. It's just a piece of code, much like an app you use when you're shopping to get coupons or something of that. It lays on top of your other data and just pulls off what it needs to do its thing. You have complete control. You can sever the connection at any time. You can drop all your data at any time. And if it's not on, we're not on. We don't operate in the background or do anything of that nature.
Wow.
So I want complete control to be in the author's hands at all times.
Yeah, see, I remember when I first heard about ScribeCount, I thought, oh my goodness, for the first time, we can get a pretty good accurate about general sales from everyone. And you're like, no, we can't see it. We don't even see the data. It's
No.
just there for the user to see, right?
I do. I get a lot of questions of, is this genre doing well right now? And I have no idea,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
I do not see the raw data. I don't. There's only we only pull it and show it back to you. It's as if you have a hallway, and then there's doors labeled Google, Amazon on this
Yeah.
hallway, and you're leading me down that hallway, and you open the door. I can look in, but I can't touch anything.
Right.
And you can shut that door in my face anytime. So
Wow. Okay.
it's all a three-way connection. It's between ScribeCount, the subscriber, and the platform that they wish to see. And any three of them can sever that. So it's very secure.
Oh, that is fantastic. So we're talking about data, but I'm a kind of a visual guy, so I've loaded some visual screenshots and samples of the different ways you can look at your data. Can you talk a little bit about I guess the sunburst, which is probably
Sure.
the most popular for a lot of authors, is that sunburst.
It is. It's not only pretty, but it's also very useful. So yeah, if you want to throw that up, I can talk about it. Okay, that's an excellent sunburst chart, actually.
Yeah.
So
that's very
every
wide.
platform is color coded. We try to use the colors that are actually in that platform's logo. Of course, Google and Apple don't help because they use every color. But Amazon would be your cornflower color there, and Drafted Digital's your purple, and Google's your blue. But the inner layer is the platform. The second layer is the country that sale was made in. The third layer is the title of that book, and the fourth layer is the format.
Oh, wow.
Now, what we can't show you here is that the sunburst is interactive. You can click on any of those layers or any of the sections. So if I want to see just Amazon in my sunburst, I just click on the Amazon KDP inner layer, and the rest of them morph away, and your sunburst becomes nothing but yellow. So, and that works for any platform. So I can look at this chart and know how my entire library is doing in one visual. And that was the goal of it all along. So once I can see that, I can see that Amazon makes up a large majority of the sales, and looks like Barnes and Noble, or no, Apple's coming in second. So I can see that in just a glance. But if I want to see how I'm doing just in Canada on Apple, all I have to do is push the little Canada section of the chart, and it will morph again and show you nothing but Apple's sales in Canada. So you can go from your entire library down to a single book in a single format in a single country in less than 4 clicks. And that was the main goal of the sunburst.
That is absolutely fantastic. I love how dynamic it is. You click on it and then it automatically changes. I'm just going to share a few screenshots I took. So one of the things I did is I
Okay.
went in and thought, okay, I want to filter by series. I want to see how's my Canadian Werewolf series, how is it doing this month? I can kind of see some of that. How did it do? Was it last year or whatever? And suddenly you can quickly just change that, and it's going to change.
Sure.
But some of the other pieces of data, you talked about formats. So this is just an example of one of the formats. And this is just at the top of that main screen, right?
Yeah, there's
I can see that this month the formats I've been selling in 41.7% ebook, 45.1% paperback, audiobook relatively small, hardcovers not too bad, 13%.
that's
You can
good.
also see my Kindle Unlimited and Kobo Plus. No Kobo Plus this month, and I'm not going to get Kindle Unlimited because I'm not in the exclusivity
Yeah, I did.
program. But you can even free versus paid, right?
Sure. Free versus paid. We've got Amazon versus wide, so you can see how you're doing. Most people like to see that. We'll actually be updating that very soon to
Yeah.
Amazon wide direct, so you'll able to see those three pieces
Oh wow,
and
that
how
is
they
really
enter
cool.
right in there. And we're looking for a way to filter that, so if you want to take the direct out, you still can.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
but there's a lot of that. Yeah, and we have the four main filters. We have your date range, your platforms, your
Yeah.
formats, and all of your people have pen names, or they have
Right.
they split royalties with someone, or so we offer a way to create your own filters. Basically, you can tag books and group them together. You can make box sets. You can make foreign copies. You can. So if you want to see just your Spanish versions selling in Chile, you can. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of 4 clicks. I try to do everything in 4 clicks. So
Yeah.
sometimes we don't make it. Usually we find a way. But it's all down to saving time, really. I just
Yeah.
the main goal of this whole thing was to stop having to visit multiple places, download spreadsheets, crunch them together in a pivot table,
Right.
and by the time I was done, the data was already antiquated. So I said, if we can't do it in 4 clicks, it's just not fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Authors, would rather be writing. They want to get in there, get an answer to that question, and make a marketing decision or a decision on what to write next or whatever they want. And they need that answer quick so they can get back to what really moves the needle. And that's writing the next book, of course.
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic. I'm just going to pop up a couple comments from folks who are watching live. And says,
okay.
wow, obviously, yeah, when you see those sunbursts and how interactive they are, that is so amazing. And Facebook user, we don't know what your name is. You're
No.
anonymous, but yeah, very cool. So that is really cool. There were some other, I think this is one of the other screenshots I think I took where it just gives me a breakdown of royalties earned by platform. I did blur out the dollars or whatever, but it's just I like the fact that I can see a comparison of the percentages,
Mhm.
units sold percentages, and you can see how the units sold versus royalty earned doesn't line up exactly.
No.
It may have
And you
sold more
can,
units, but not earned as much or whatever. And then you can even see free and then free versus paid, which is a strategy a lot of authors still use, right?
you bet. You bet. You can glean a lot by comparing those charts. And
Oh
if you
yeah,
actually, if you put it back up for me, there's filters at the top. See, you have it right now in platform summary.
yeah, yeah.
And you'll see next to it, there's a marketplace summary, a D2D summary, and then your other income summary. So there's 4 versions of these charts you're seeing right here.
Oh
And
my
you
God.
can,
See, and I've been using it since almost the beginning, and I'm still not even leveraging all of the opportunities. So the marketplace summary, is that like by country?
uh, yes. Well, it's actually, it can be both. If you, oh, I wish we had a shot of it. I didn't think to include one. It will tear it down by country. Some places have region, which
Okay.
is kind of a group of countries. It's kind of hard to define.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can, if you click through there, you almost always discover something that you weren't even looking for.
Oh
Like, I
yeah.
can't believe how many copies of this or my first book sold in this country. And
Yeah.
now 2 months later, I see it spilling over into the country next door.
Wow.
So you see a lot of that. And I don't know if it's because people shop I know a lot of Canadians, for instance, a lot of them shop for books in the US on the US Amazon store because there's more reviews there. It's a larger marketplace, so there's more reviews, and they get a better idea of what it is they're
Yeah.
looking for. So we see the spillover of stuff happening from country to country, and it's really hard to explain, but you can't deny it's there.
Yeah, no kidding.
and I wouldn't even know to look until we had the chart. So
Well, and I have, I don't think I shared this one yet, but the ScribeCount map. So got
the
this,
map.
this was a look at my map. So on the main page, I scroll down and it's broken it down. Obviously, you can see a lot of my sales, most of my sales are coming from the US, but others big all over the world. And then Canada next at what, I can't read that,
It's
6.5%.
like 6.5, it looks like.
Yeah, 6.5%. But then if I hover over the country, I'll see the numbers. They'll pop up on a nice little interactive pop-up. So what a great way to see where your books are selling. And then again, if I filter that by, like I said, if I filtered it by, series, and I said, I just want to see the series books and how they're doing, then I can see how those series books did in different countries, right? That'll
Exactly.
filter automatically on that bottom screen.
You can.
Absolutely.
A cool comparison is if you have other languages. So you
Yeah.
can see like majority of your countries were English speaking, but you had quite a few that it's not predominant language, and they're
Yeah.
still doing really well there. So you could compare your English books in, say, Brazil to your Spanish or Portuguese books and see what the balance is,
Right.
and make a good marketing decision off of that.
Cool. So we do have a question from Ann Larson. So
Sure.
Ann asks, if you're a hybrid author, can you follow your traditionally published titles along with your indie titles?
Not at this time, Anne. I understand what you're asking for, but that would take the cooperation of the big five publisher or whoever
Right.
it is you were with, sharing data with us. They're probably not going to do that.
No, they're not. I mean, I still get once the biggest publisher I work with, once a year I get an emailed printout of what my sales were for last year. And I will get this in May for 2023,
Okay.
May of 2024. So I get it late. And it's my sales all the previous fiscal period, etc. But what I do, it's a hack that I use as a traditionally published author, is when that royalty statement comes in, there is a place in ScribeCount where I can manually enter my numbers. Now, I don't know what day or what country or whatever they sold in, but at the high level, there's a spreadsheet I can upload, there's a template, or I can go and enter my data in. And I can say, okay, Haunted Hospitals is one of my traditionally published titles, so is Spooky Sudbury, etc. This is how many copies I sold this year. And I think I pick a date, an arbitrary date, like the December 31st.
Correct, yes.
Or
I interpreted her question as, can we do it the same way we do it for the other platforms?
I mean, if a publisher's willing to let you.
If they were willing to give us an API, a little webhook, we could do that. So maybe the better answer to your question, Ann, is we can't do it live or automatically every 30 minutes like we do for all the other platforms. But if you want to enter that data to see it side by side with all of your self-published data, you can manually enter that through our other income and expense feature. And it's spreadsheet format. We're looking to refine it actually and make it much more user-friendly here shortly. Right. But it will at least show you historical data. But I won't be able to tell you what you sold yesterday, I'm afraid. Not like I do with Amazon or anything else.
But I find that extremely valuable because my income doesn't all come from Amazon. My income doesn't all come from one particular format. So again, I'll just pop up this example. This is an example of one of my series titles and how it sold, I guess, last year. You can see Amazon's a giant chunk, a nice chunk. And you see other income. So the other income is going to include my traditionally published sales and other platforms that may not be part of ScribeCount yet at this point in time. But then I can also break it down by audiobook, and you can see obviously Findaway is going to be audiobook and ebook and Apple and Kobo and stuff like that. So I find that comparison very valuable when I'm trying to make decisions about, do I want to license my rights to a publisher on this next thing, or do I want to do it myself? I can at least take a look at it and go, well, here's how much work it takes to do one of these books. and here's how much money I make comparatively, or how many units I sold, or what countries I reached, etc. So I still find that even though it's manual, I like entering that. So when I even go to a trade show, I've got my table and I'm selling stuff as an author. I can export a report out of Square and find out what my
Sure.
sales were, and then basically load it into the right template or manually key it in, and then I can see what my direct sales were. But you said there's going to be a plugin for WooCommerce, and
We do. We have WooCommerce and we have Shopify already.
already,
So if you're
okay,
using any of those platforms, it will automatically pull that. Now, that works in conjunction with BookFunnel, and we'll be adding BookVault and Lulu soon to get
oh
your
wow,
direct sales print. Working on that with them. So there's a lot of ways to augment the areas that we don't cover yet. You can still get that information into your reports, and it'll still save you a lot of time.
oh
So,
wow,
that leads to like you just described. That's a data driven decision.
yeah,
Where before the majority of us were making an educated guess. Should
yeah.
I do this or should I do that? I may have a cat visiting me here in a second. And yeah, that's the main. Excuse me.
That's fine. Writers understand
Go away.
cat.
Always in my face.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's the main goal is save time and make good, informed, data-driven decisions instead
right.
of. Yeah, I still see a lot of people, and I'm not knocking you people out there, you authors, my fellow authors, but I see a lot of questions on the internet. Hey, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? And of course, half the people agree, yeah, go for it, and the other half are like, no, that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going, okay, instead of polling everybody who got a different result, maybe look at your own data and make an educated decision on what's worked for you in the past, and make your spend your money accordingly, and get the best, the most that you can out of your ad spend or your
Oh
marketing
yeah.
efforts or your time,
Yeah.
because we'd all love more time. I know I would, especially
Oh,
since launching this.
100%. I mean, what I love is, I am published wide. I go direct to a number of platforms. I use Drafted Digital for distribution. I've got audiobooks through Findaway. I've got direct sales. I don't have a Shopify store yet, but I am powering or providing my content through BookFunnel. So my link to BookFunnel shows my direct sales. But Anne asked a great question, and I know Anne already found the answer on the website, but I think for the benefit of other people who probably have the question and haven't gone to the website yet, thanks for asking. This is a monthly subscription service. Can it be suspended temporarily and then restarted?
um I Yeah, it can. We don't lock you in unless you got a yearly subscription. That the only thing that locked you in. We offer 2 tiers of monthly, according to your income. We want to make it as affordable to everybody as possible. So if you make less than $1,000 a month, it's only $10, $9.99.
Okay.
If you make over 1,000, it pops up to $19.99,
Okay.
and that's it. If you're consistently in that upper bracket, you're better off doing a yearly, which gives you a nice discount. And I
Right.
think
Right.
it
Yeah.
knocks it down, I want to say in the $16 a month range. But we don't penalize you. If you are in that lower bracket, and let's say you finally got that book bub and you had a really good month and you blew right through the $1,000 a month, income level, and then things slow down 3 months later and you drop back below, your subscription rate drops too. We
Okay.
don't lock you in if you're up above.
Right.
Now, whether you can get out and come back in, you certainly can. The only problem with that is this is a lot of data. So when you open your account with ScribeCount, it's going to take a long time. I'm going to say a long time. Most authors are set up in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Because if you're like me and you've been publishing since 2009, 10, I don't remember, it has to pull 14, 15 years worth of data from just Amazon.
Right.
Well,
Right.
Amazon doesn't like people coming to their website and pulling that much data at once. And they tend, if they see it, they have security that shuts you down. So we have had to kind of make a deal with Amazon, and we only pull a certain amount at a time.
Okay.
So if you say, hey, Randall, I'm Joe Author, and I've got 10 years worth of sales and 84 books, here's my data. I can only eat that cake a bite at a time.
Right.
And
Okay. Right.
it might take me an hour or two even to load all that data into your system. Now, if you were signed up and you had all that data loaded and everything's up and running great, and then you were to leave and come back, you would have to start all over and we would have to load all that data
Right.
again. Now, once it's all loaded, the software only looks for new.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. Yeah.
so it checks Amazon every 30 minutes and uploads any new information that gets loaded by them. So once your data is loaded, things are off and running. But that initial load does take a long time. So that's the big
Okay.
downside of leaving and coming back. You certainly can, but I wouldn't advise it.
You've reminded me of, and I'm going to age myself here, but the technology of the press play on tape one era with the Commodore PET computers, Lemonade or Miner or any of the games that you'd go and be 45 minutes, you press play on the tape, and it would load the software into the computer. And then while I was up, you could just, the game ends and you play again, you play again, play again. But the minute you turn the computer off,
You had to load it
it's
all
all
over.
gone.
Yeah,
You got to load
this
it up
is
again.
this is the
Yeah,
same thing, and I
very cool.
still I'm still trying to educate all of our subscribers about that because we do still have people that say, "How come it takes so long every time I log in?" And I'm like, "Well, you're not logging in; you're actually getting out and coming back, so we have to load it all over." But uh, the nature of it, and we're not using your passwords, we're not using anything, means it's pretty safe to just leave on all day.
Yeah.
I leave mine on. I don't even worry about it. Of course, the guys use my stuff to develop stuff, so I'm leaving it on for
For
them.
them, yeah, the
But
developers.
yeah, they have to have. I'm the guinea pig. I'm their main guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I never know what I'm going to see in my reports.
Oh,
I get
that's
up in the
funny.
morning and I look at my ScribeCount dashboard and I go, that's not even close. And I have to call them up and go, are you messing with my account? Oh yeah, just ignore everything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad because I built this thing and I can't even use it half the time.
So,
So
and I leave mine open all the time. So I have a browser open where I've logged into the various platforms. I just go to ScribeCount, hit refresh, and then it's just showing me live, basically. Well, you can always check the dashboard to see when the last time it loaded from whatever platform was.
it will, yeah, it will
Yeah.
kick you out once in a while. Like those security
Yeah.
software that I mentioned, like at Amazon, everything has a timer. It's like if you go to your bank's website and you're doing some banking and you forget and you go do something else and you come back and they've logged you out because they haven't seen you doing anything for the
Yeah.
last 20 minutes. It's the same thing with the various sales platforms. Some of them have timers that are only 2 days old, 2
Yeah.
days. Some of them will let you sit there for a week or two. They're all different. So
Yeah.
every once in a while, you'll go in and go, wait a minute, my Apple hasn't changed in a week, and you'll
Yeah.
see that Apple kicked you out. It's not us, it's Apple. But
Right.
it's security software, and I certainly understand it and actually approve of it. It's
Yeah.
just it's one of those inconveniences. Every once in a while, you will have to
It's
go in and
yeah,
approve
but
a
all I
little.
have to do is click a button, log in, and it's there. It's not
Yeah,
like I have to do 15 steps or anything like that.
no, takes seconds
So,
to log back in.
Anne has asked a really good question, which I'm going to get to that question very
Sure.
shortly, Anne. But I want to talk about the fact that it's not just sales data that you're pulling in. You're now starting to
No.
pull in other things, and that kind of leads to Anne's question.
Okay.
Newsletters. So you're working with newsletters, or you've got that. Like how with a newsletter, what kind of data gets gathered, and what exists now, and sort of what's coming up.
We just started loading, and this was at a request. I should back up. At
Yeah.
first, my intention was just sales. This was
Right.
going to be just a sales aggregator, and uh, and then we started getting email.
Okay.
Oh boy, lots and lots of email. Hey, can you add this? Can you add that? So that led to ad tracking. So now we have your Amazon ads and your Facebook ads. You can see all the data right in ScribeCount.
Oh
And
wow.
that led to, well, what about my direct sales? Can you show me my Shopify sales? And what about my book funnel stuff? And then, so we added book funnel and we added Shopify and we added WooCommerce. And the latest thing is, people want to know, especially with selling direct, the newsletter has gotten that much stronger. And it was always my intention to include that data, but other people wanted, other stuff first. But we're at the point now where we're adding email platforms. We started out with author email. Nick Thacker, shout out to him. He helped us a great deal figuring out how best to show that. So we have a nice dashboard, and now we've added MailerLite just this week. I want to say, what is it? MailerLite Classic and MailerLite something else. I can't remember. We think we got them both.
No, I don't know.
Something I can't remember. There's 2 versions of it though, and we tried to add them both, but that's still in beta. We only added it Tuesday, so we're still working on that. But it all ties to your newsletters, and eventually we'll have Mailchimp and Klaviyo and Constant and all the others. But we're working our way through that, so you will be able to see your newsletter data from your email provider.
So
into your ScribeCount.
Are you talking about open rates and click-throughs and all of that data is just included again, for convenience, right?
You bet. And it'll show you 10 campaigns at a time.
Okay.
And it also shows it all in spreadsheet format. And so you can adjust. There's multiple filters. And it's pretty slick. I'm not a big email guy myself, email marketer guy myself. But when I ask people who are, they're all like, yeah, you're doing it right. Don't just do what you're doing. So I'm like, okay. So we're trying to do that. But it all goes to an end goal. And the end goal now is to give you this complete picture,
right,
of what you're doing. So you can look at your email marketing versus your Amazon ads versus your Facebook ads, all aimed at, book 14 or series 5 or whatever it is you want to aim it at, and see, should I be spending more time or money on Facebook, or should I spend my time on my newsletter, or do I need to up my Amazon ads game? We'll be able to tell you instead of you just kind of wondering and making an educated guess. So that's where the analytics come in. And I don't know if we were getting to that, but I'll segue to that myself. We just launched the analytics, and this is the stuff that I've been aiming for the last 2 years. Really, this is where I wanted to get to. But the analytics will tell you all this. Basically 4 things: date range. What was it? Ad. I can't remember what they are now. The filters, but you can filter your stuff and do sell through, read through, ROI for an ad or a book or a series.
Right.
You can see all that. We do the math for you.
Wow.
And I used to hate calculating sell through and read through, especially if you have a series that's.
Wait a second. So I don't even know how to use this because you guys just recently launched this, right?
This was a month ago. Just a month ago, we launched the analytics.
The time of Superstars 2024.
Actually, you were in Colorado. You were in South Park.
So I haven't even played with it yet. Does that mean I can go into my Canadian Werewolf series, 7 books in the series, and I can see read through by platform, by geo-target? I could see it potentially by format. So maybe my read through on my audio is better than it is on the ebook. Or
absolutely.
Vice versa, or
yep, you can narrow it by all the format, all the filters that we have already. You can do so. You can generate a sell through for a series report.
Tab on the left nav.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I probably haven't even noticed that.
You haven't seen it yet? Yeah, I think I announced it while you were out there. To be honest, I forgot. I need to do it again, evidently. But yeah, I get in there, and I worked with your partner in crime on that, Deanna Hart. Her of the accounting.
Right. Deanna said she was working on that because she loved. She's an MBA, and she loves doing that sort of analytics on sell through because then she knows is it all paying for itself, right? Because I may look at an ad compared to the sales of book 1 that I dropped to 99 cents, and I'm not making my money back. But if I consider then the additional read through of the series, then okay, by the time they get to book 3, I'm in the clear now, right?
Exactly. And 4 clicks. So
man, I can't wait to play with that.
You click what filters you want, what book you want, what format you want, and you just hit the button and it does it for you. Makes a nice chart. It also gives it to you in the spreadsheet format. So anything you want. But wow. It's taken I'm not good at what she does. Deanna's amazing.
Yeah.
She made a video for us, and I was like, okay. She actually did it so I could follow it, which was great. But
Oh,
yeah, I just can't imagine doing, a good 15 minutes of math to do one sell through report. And now it's 4 clicks and hit a button.
oh my God.
So, and
This
you
is
can print it out
amazing.
too.
Yeah,
So
I can't wait to let's stop the interview now. I'm gonna go play with self. I'm gonna go play with it now, which is great. Wow, this is fantastic.
yep.
I have to pop this comment up. Speaking of fantastic, from Anne. Anne says this is fantastic. I was very daunted by both the ad data and the newsletter tracking, and I'm an author with a day job and wasn't sure how my indie plans were going to work with the number of hours in the day. This makes so much possible. Thank you.
Excellent, Ann. Thank you. Yep, that's the goal right there. What she
Yeah.
just said. I mean, the majority of the authors out there still do have the day job. So
Wow.
if they can spend, I think I'm one of the few platforms that's designed for you to use it as least as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Go in, take a look.
Yeah, I want you to get in, get your answer, and get out. Go write.
Well,
Go write
that's
a
the
book.
other thing is around 11 o'clock Eastern every morning, roughly, I get an email from ScribeCount. And that's probably based on my preferences and my settings.
Yeah, that's a setting you can choose what time you
Yeah.
get that. So
And I guess I can increase it or decrease the frequency of it. But every day, even if I haven't gone to my ScribeCount dashboard, even though I've kept it open because I have 5 billion tabs open in 4
me
different
too.
browsers, because that's just the way I roll. You should see my desk. I get that email that just sort of prompts me, and it's a nice little graph that shows me sort of a breakdown. And I think it was it yesterday's sales, or was it?
Yeah, it gives you the sales from the day before. And
Yeah,
you can set that day for whatever you like. A lot of our authors set it for Pacific time because that's when
right.
Amazon, Google, and Apple, the three major players, that's their day.
Yeah,
So they just say, well, I'll
yeah,
adjust to their time zone. But you can set it for whatever you like. And it's just an overall, it doesn't drill down. It's not super detailed, but it will give you an overall of what you do. The other thing in that email is any alerts. We monitor your prices and we
okay.
monitor your KU status of your books. So if any of those change, we let you know.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of the price thing. I didn't realize why people were asking for it until finally somebody gave me it. It's a piracy detector.
Oh,
So if you see, hey, book 4 of my series is now $2.99 when it should be $5.99. Amazon price matched it. Well, their bot did. And now that tells you somebody out there selling my book
on a
for
different
less.
platform. Okay,
So while we can't locate the pirate, we can't, give you his address or anything. We can at least tell you, hey, somebody's pirating your book.
right.
Or
Yeah,
or Amazon started dropping prices. People found their books on sale at Amazon and they would contact Amazon and say, Amazon, oh yeah, Amazon, we did that, but don't worry, you'll still get the royalty of this price you set. That this
yeah,
was 2 years ago, I think they started doing this. So that was
yeah.
another reason people wanted to know, if their prices got changed. And if you've got 100 books out there, which a lot of people do, you don't have time to monitor that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we wrote a little code to do that. So
Huh.
keep track of that. The other thing was the KU status, and I don't want to poke Amazon here, but we did get a lot of requests for that because people would say, I took my book out of KU, but when the time came, the box was checked again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
That the little gremlins in the system that
yeah,
happen to everyone. Yeah. So
right.
that's
So I
just
said,
a
well,
flag. Okay.
we'll monitor that too. So we let you know what your KU status is if your book is coming out. We tell you when it's coming out, how many days are left
Right.
until
Right.
it happens, if the box is checked or not. We
Yeah.
keep track of that too. So
And I love that. I mean, we talked about this earlier, but I think it's worth looking at your wide sales versus your Kindle Unlimited versus direct, so that as you're making decisions on where to invest time and energy, you can say, hey, you know what? I launched my direct store. Maybe my unit sales aren't as high, but my margin's definitely bigger because you can see that breakdown. You can go, yeah, my units are way smaller in direct, but look at how much more money I make. I
yeah,
mean, I look at that with my traditionally published books, right? I make nothing on the ebooks for because I'm getting 8%.
Sure.
on those, but I'm making 60 and 70% on my ebooks that I publish. So even though the price is dramatically lower, I'm making way more money on those. So that's where I decide if this is a book I think is going to sell an ebook more than print. I know how I'm going to publish that one, or my preference is at least.
You bet. You bet. And a lot of it's genre specific. I get email from people saying that, I didn't know that I should have put this book in KU because it does well. That genre does well in KU until I
Yeah,
saw how it did on the other platforms.
right.
So they made a data-driven decision and moved their books back into KU. So
So
it all depends.
so let's talk about a few more things that it can pull in, making life easier. And is
Sure.
this in beta still, or is this available to everyone? Because every once in a while, I get asked as a longtime user
Huh?
to test something. So
Oh yeah.
pulling in reviews, is that
Reviews.
live?
We had reviews coming in. We had them coming in from every platform, and then a few of them made some changes that disrupted that.
Right.
We are actually right now in the week I want to say week 4 or 5 of a 3-month extension update,
Okay.
and we do this yearly. And what that means is we go through every platform and we go over every update that they did in the last 6-8 months.
Right.
And usually when they do something like that, we code a band-aid, I call them. I'm not a developer, so I make up my own name for stuff.
Yeah.
But we code a band-aid, we fix the problem, and then when we go to the 3-year or the 3-month update period, we go back and we smooth off all the
Right.
rough
Right.
edges, and we make that code optimize really well. So we
Yeah.
will be we still pull almost all reviews, but there's a few out there that
A little
they
bit
come in
more. Yeah.
chunks now. So we need to fix that issue, but we're working on that now. So, but
I
yeah,
like
we do
that.
consolidate them once we have them. I should probably mention that.
Yeah.
So if you want to see your books for your, let's say your new release and you pushed it wide, you only have to go to ScribeCount to see all your reviews.
Mm.
So we take them all and we put them all together. So you can see Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo reviews. You can see them all in one big list.
I love that. So you're not going to
Yeah.
multiple platforms again, just like your
No,
sales. Yeah.
no. And we're working on some code to Amazon has the word cloud of your reviews.
Yeah.
We're going to have word cloud for all your platforms reviews, and we're also going to put in a filter that lets you filter them by star rating,
Wow.
so you can see all your 3 stars, all
Yeah.
your 1
Yeah.
stars, all your 5 stars, whatever
As
you want to see.
people who may
Yeah.
not want to look at their 1 stars,
No.
I'll just
No.
ignore those. So one of the other tools that I did not start taking advantage of until just towards the end of last year was the ability to do analytics on my Amazon ads. And I think I'll share a screenshot as you talk about Amazon ads. I think I
Okay.
took a screenshot of a
Well,
couple
me
weeks.
talking about Amazon ads is going to be
Yeah.
a short conversation. I
So,
personally don't do Amazon ads. I
yeah.
primarily do Facebook and newsletter, email marketing. But that is a great example right there. You can see your spend, your clicks, your impressions,
Right.
your outreach, and of course, down your royalty compared to it.
Yeah.
So you can see what ads are working and which ones aren't, and
Right.
then right there's your royalty to reflect it.
Yeah. And again,
And
I did ads because it was Facebook. I'm really good at giving money to.
mhm.
But again, and I found the scribe count view so much easier to understand, and it was all there. I didn't have, because I know with Amazon ads you can only see 2 at a time and you have to keep toggling around, and I
Yeah.
end up spending 15-20 minutes and I still don't understand what I'm looking at. Or I can go over to scribe count and I can see it really efficiently, really quickly, in a much more visually appealing way, I think.
We try to do that. It's some of this stuff is so complicated that simplifying it is really a challenge. So we tend to go backwards. I tend to go, okay, I'm looking at this, and what is the question I'm trying to answer?
Yeah.
And I start with that, and I go, show them that answer first, and then work backwards with your presentation and your UI interface and everything else. So I hope it comes through in our pages and our dashboard and everything. if people only knew how many arguments happened, or, what's this dashboard going to look like? Well, let's argue about it for a week before we come
Yeah.
up with a prototype. And then, so yeah, it's a lot of roundtable discussion and a lot of trial and error. But yeah, I hope if you can't get the answer you need in less than a couple minutes, then I'm not doing my job, and
Right.
I need to simplify it even more. But I'm not making excuses. It's just trying to make sense of a lot of complicated stuff,
Awesome.
and I hope that's what we're doing, is we're making the complicated easy, so you can get good decision making data out of it. That's the
Yeah.
goal, anyway.
Well, it's a great goal, and thank you for doing that for us. Can
Mhm.
you let people know where they can find out more about ScribeCount?
Oh, absolutely. It's www.scribecount.com right there at the bottom. And
Awesome.
there's a complete presentation of everything we cover. There's demonstration videos. There's, if you prefer that, there's text. There's just about everything. And we're
Awesome.
adding to it all the time. So come check us out. And 2-week free trial. You can give us a go and see what we can do for you.
Awesome. Well, Randall, thanks so much for sponsoring Superstars Writing Seminar
My
2024.
pleasure.
Thanks for hanging out today to just share some insider tips and tricks and hacks and all the great
Oh, yeah.
things that it was fantastic. And for anyone who's watching this, superstarswriting.com is where you can register for next year. No matter when you're watching this, there will always be a next year. We're in February in beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado, and look forward to seeing folks there again, and potentially seeing Randall in Colorado. Anne says thank you for answering questions and for your terrific service, and of course, fantastic visual design.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate that.
Awesome. And thanks again, Randall, and thanks, Anne, and everyone who is watching this live. This video will, of course, be available afterwards. And that is it. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
All right. Thanks for having me. We'll see you.